This episode is brought to you by Redfin. You're listening to a podcast, which means you're probably multitasking. Maybe even scrolling home listings on Redfin, saving homes without expecting to get them. But Redfin isn't just built for endless browsing. It's built to help you find and own a home. With agents who close twice as many deals, when you find the one, you've got a real shot at getting it. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
This is what everyone's talking about.
Everything's on the table.
This is what champions come to take. This is what everyone came to see.
And the slam!
No do-overs. No second chances. No more Mr. Nice Guy. This is winner take all. The NBA Finals continue on ABC and the ESPN app.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities, so do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Thank you for listening. Built Different is sponsored by Frame of Reference, the series that dives into the vulnerable, messy, and deeply human lives of a close-knit group of friends. It explores how fear, past mistakes, and unresolved trauma shape the way we see the world today. Stream season 1 of Frame of Reference on the Roku channel, Tubi TV, Prime Video, Fawsome TV, and YouTube Movies and TV. You know what I love about, I love doing this show because the people, the Watts Podcast Network, they really kind of messed up. They really kind of messed up when they gave me a microphone. And I can just kind of say what's on my mind. And one thing that just constantly revolves in my head, because I love choice. I love the power of choice. And, I'm presented with a lot of choices sometimes. I get overwhelmed. And one thing that pops into my head is this quote. It's from a very polarizing figure. This person would probably want me to call them a historical figure. But the quote is, she got a light-skinned friend, looked like Michael Jackson, and a dark-skinned friend, looked like Michael Jackson. And I think about that, and sometimes I ask myself, well, I wonder which one I would pick. I'm really, I thought this was America. I could, it's the freedom to choose. And, I would have to see them. But, if you're tuning in right now, this is Keith B, the certified Aquarian. So, it gets real weird right here on Built Different. And, I think about that line. I think about just there are a few things in life I really love. I love bread. I love bread, like artisan bread, not Iron Kids bread or Wonder Bread. I love Negronis. If you know me, I love a good Negroni. And I love Black women. And so when I hear that line, she got a light-skinned friend, looked like Michael Jackson, a dark-skinned friend, looked like Michael Jackson. I play ready for the world. She was ready for some action. But I'm like, who would I want to have action? Who would I choose? And, because to me, I never got the thing with colorism. I never understood that. And it reminds me of this documentary back in the day called Light Girls. And I don't know if anyone saw it, but, it just talked about, so and please correct me if I'm wrong, because, the power of the internet. There was a documentary called Dark Girls that came out first. And then and it talked about, again, we're talking about colorism. And it talked about just the difficulties that, just the historical context and just the struggles that darker skinned Black women deal with, because of colorism and, inherent biases and all of that. And so they said, well, hey, we're all about inclusivity. We're going to come out with light girls. And I'm going to be honest, I never saw either documentary. But, I definitely heard the discourse. And one person who gave me a little discourse was my sister. And, she real pro-Black, like power to the people. Like, I think her fist came out first when she was born. And, they were talking about the documentary and the Light Girls documentary. And Tatiana Ali was in that documentary. And I don't know. Now, I have a question for y'all because y'all in the studio.
Yeah. This is good.
I talk to myself all the time, so I'm not by myself. So let me ask y'all this.
Mm-hmm.
And anyone who is a regular Built Different listener at this point, I'm going to give y'all a fan name. We're going to call y'all the Keiths for now. Who would y'all rather see in a Light Girls documentary talking about colorism? Tatiana Ali, and this is no insult to her.
Yes,
because
not at all.
Beautiful, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, classic, great actress.
Mm-hmm.
Tatiana Ali or Nkechi Diallo, a.k.a. Rachel Dolezal. Who would y'all like to see in a Light Girls documentary?
Well, definitely not Rachel.
Nkechi.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Tatiana Ali is a brown-skinned girl, in my opinion.
Brown-skinned lady.
But I think I would, as a producer,
okay,
I would have approached, and again, I haven't seen the documentary, so I don't know this, if they've done this or not. I would approach it from biracial girls first, and then maybe young, light-skinned, fair-skinned Black women who may not have a full track record or understanding of how their lineage was diluted.
Okay.
And then I would also say we need to be careful because some people, that was Kanye West, and
yes,
Kanye is problematic, and he's a genius. So there you go. It's because when I first heard that line, I was like, man, this guy's a genius.
Yeah.
But Michael Jackson had vitiligo, right? So that's why he had a light-skinned friend that looked like Michael Jackson and a dark-skinned friend. So vitiligo is a skin pigmentation.
Yes.
So there are some people, like, we need to, like, I would have come from it a couple different angles, really kind of focusing on, like, this is this group, this is this group, and this is this group. Because it's albinism as well.
Yeah.
And so, but Tatiana Ali, I would not have put in that category, nor Nkechi.
So, you know what? And I'm going to be honest. I want to, and thank you for calling her Nkechi. She deserves that respect. I'm going to be honest because, and this happens all the time. You ever walk into a room and you say, what did I walk into this room for? Or matter of fact, you say, ooh, I'm gonna paint my living room. And then you look in the corner and you see all these old photographs. And I'm gonna start a scrapbook. I was gonna talk about something else, but I think we've gotten to we're getting too deep in this rabbit hole, and it's getting good. So I'm gonna slightly venture off, and I'm gonna ask y'all: in terms of colorism, in terms of biracial identity, do we feel that there is a struggle for that all Black people struggle, whether you're biracial, whether you are light skinned? Like, is there a light skin struggle? And real quick, and I asked that, and let me also put out a disclaimer. This is, part of this is tongue in cheek, but also these are real historical questions. These are real things. From brown paper bag tests to, don't stay out in the sun too long, all the way to if they can't use your comb, don't bring them home. Mm-hmm. And if you don't know what that means, Google it. But I also think of another artist. Some people might call this person a genius. Y'all might not think so. But I think of Drake. And I remember when Young Money, Ooh, yeah. I think my mic's about to be cut off. So, but you know, I think of when Drake first came out. You know, this was after he got out the wheelchair, you know, from Degrassi and started rapping, and people were like, "Who's this Canadian guy?" And he would rap about, you know, just these hard struggles, and it was like, but you're a child star. You were a child star, and you know, he would talk about his struggles and, you know, being biracial, and you know, it just made me wonder, like, you know, is there a, you know, obviously there's an identity crisis that goes along with that. But when it comes to lighter skinned Black people, is there a struggle? Is there a true struggle that, you know, on the diaspora? Because we're always talking about, you know, we're always talking about just who's really Black, who's really Black, and even from a socioeconomic standpoint, you know, I'm gonna bring it back because that's what I always do. From a socioeconomic standpoint, like, you know, if you are light skinned with money, you dark skinned with money, are you as Black as someone who is from the gutter, from the hood, from the projects? You know, again, we're touching all bases. I'm just gonna say it. Are middle class Black people the biracials of the Black diaspora? All right, let's talk about it. No, seriously, that's exactly what Jordan does on So About That. Whether her conversation is breaking down why nostalgia is a scam, figuring out if we're bad at relationships, or asking why activism is turned into a digital performance. This podcast is where culture, curiosity, and a little bit of side-eye come together. Hosted by Jordan Hora, So About That is for the thinkers, the overanalyzers, and the ones who love a good debate over brunch. They're building community, challenging beliefs, and probably exposing a few contradictions of their own along the way. It's all love, though. Listen to So About That anywhere you get your podcasts.
In my opinion, Keith, all Black people struggle.
All Black people struggle. Are the struggles different?
Yes.
Okay.
Darker skinned Black people suffer the most everywhere.
Okay.
For instance, and these are not Afro-Americans, but if you go to India,
yes,
I've been there many times, and the commercials were of a dark-skinned Indian woman washing her face with a product, and she became lighter. And that's in India. So across all cultures, darker people
tend to struggle more.
They suffer most.
Okay.
Now, they suffer most. The question that we have to ask is why, right?
Okay.
But we also need to say everyone suffers, but somebody suffers more.
So I'm going to put you on the spot again. And if you're listening, and you can do it in the comments, you know, this is all, these are thought exercises. Again, I like to say this is Black NPR. Who, if you had to choose between one or the other, do you think that darker skinned folks with more economic means struggle more or less than lighter skinned folks with lesser economic means?
I believe if they are darker skinned and they are a darker skinned billionaire,
okay,
they're going to suffer more than a fair skinned billionaire. And the suffering may not be in, you know, because they're billionaires. It's, you know, we look at the suffering, but there's always going to be that
inherent bias, or I guess that the element. I mean, you know, let's not. I know I gave you two very far out there examples, especially when I talk about, you know, my girl whose name I will not say anymore.
You talking about Nkechi?
Nkechi, thank you.
Yeah.
But
come on the show, Nkechi.
Please come on the show.
We'll book you on the show in Catch A.
I don't.
Let's talk. We'll do a whole 3-hour session.
Oh my God, I would love that.
I would too. I don't know if Kenkeche want to come.
Was she from Montana, man?
I don't know, but in Catch A. Dallas is a plane away.
Hey, Dallas is great in Catch A. Matter of fact, I got questions. How do you prepare your potato salad in Catch A? Because that is going to be, I feel like she got, them little boxes of raisins. Mm-hmm. I feel like when nobody's looking, she put on her little plate. But anyway, I want to bring it down from like billionaire status, right? Yeah. And, we talk about every Black person struggles, especially, and I think, like you said, just across the diaspora, even in the world, darker skinned people tend to suffer more than those of fair skin. But, I think about class and, if we're being honest, so first off, is struggle, and I want to bring it back to Black people, is struggle part of the Black experience, just period? Whether you're fair skin, light skin, dark skin, biracial, like is struggle a part of the experience? And before you answer, and I ask that because it goes back to an earlier episode where we talk about reparations, and where, people say, well, why not LeBron and Oprah? They got the means. Why don't they do more for Black people? Or LeBron even saying, I experienced racism as LeBron James, which we know is true. Mm-hmm. So, this is not, my mind goes here, but this is not to quote that historical figure again, but he did say, even if you are in a Benz, you still a nigga in a coupe. So do we, speaking my sister.
Facts. I mean, everything he's saying is,
and this is the old Kanye, excuse me.
Yeah, and
we miss you.
Kanye, yes. That's very true. Yeah. I believe that classism is real in every culture.
Of course.
It's white people got classism. Mm-hmm. I can take you to 2 different neighborhoods in this city and show you a vast disparity in wealth gap, and there are white people. White people suffer too.
Trailer park to the country club.
Exactly. People suffer. But if we're talking about Black people, they're going to suffer differently. Mm-hmm. And darker skinned Black people is going to suffer even more. And that is because it was ingrained. It's the philosophy that people took on that, we wasn't real people. We wasn't full people. So we fighting all of that. And then other communities have picked up on that as well, including in our own. And some people in our own is saying, hey, if I got to suffer, I don't want to suffer that much. Yeah. So maybe I won't go with the darker skin version of the Michael Jackson. I'm going to go with the lighter skin version of the Michael Jackson so that my kids won't have to suffer that much, because we're going to suffer. I just don't want them to suffer like regular dark-skinned Black people do. So but we can agree that there is a struggle amongst. Okay. Yes. Now, I'm going to jump around because it seems like this episode, I'm just talking about all the controversial people. So I remember I had an argument with one of my uncles back in the day. I was in high school, and he's my mom's second oldest brother. A little out there, but we're not gonna talk about that. And we had an argument because there are 2 prominent Black shows that are classics among the Black community. One of them I wasn't a huge fan of, but I watched it. Okay. Because my mom watched it. And one I was a fan of. And so you have the Cosby Show, right? We're talking about Heathcliff, not the actor who portrayed Heathcliff. Okay, thank you for that. Yeah. So let's put that out there. The Cosby Show versus Good Times. And the argument was, he said that Good Times was more realistic.
And I did not like that. And to this day, I do not like that. Now, I could do a whole episode on why I did not like Good Times and how they could have made it out the hood by episode 2. But, I just, But, in terms of struggle, we saw struggle on The Cosby Show. But I think, and I talk about, light skin, dark skin. I talk about the classism and all that. But I'm really just getting at the Black experience because, is one struggle more realistic than the other? On The Cosby Show, you have this Black family, this affluent Black family who's still dealing with life.
Yeah.
Not on food stamps, not about to get out the hood, and the mama go, well, James, no. You have this affluent family dealing with issues, that maybe some people can't relate to, but you also have Good Times where, they dealing with issues, might be a little bit more life or death, or, we could be on the street if we don't, whatever. But there are Black people who don't relate to that. And so I wonder, again, you talk about the light skin versus dark skin and, is that really a struggle? Like, all of this is coming down to, is that, again, we have Black people across the diaspora, even with class, are these struggles still struggles that are prevalent in the Black community? Like, are these... I'm just speechless because it's just not all Black people are on food stamps. Not all Black people are. I mean, we can't talk about the wealth gap, but not all Black people are in dire straits. But just because you aren't in dire straits, doesn't mean that you are experiencing less of the Black experience because you aren't struggling. Everybody thinks they've got life all figured out. But are you sure about that? Join Mario and Chris as they break down the assumptions, the myths, and the surface level narratives that shape how we see ourselves and each other. Subscribe to Are You Sure About That? And rethink what you thought you knew. Listen to Are You Sure About That anywhere you get your podcasts.
Can I say this? And
Please.
This is to your built different audience that's listening because they built different.
They built different.
And I have to say this because it's such a great topic that we may have to pick up.
I think we do.
In another.
We will.
Because there's so much to unpack here. And Nkeche can come.
Thank you.
I would book Nkeche.
I will bring the raisins.
Please, Nkeche, please come because we could talk. And I do want to say this.
Okay.
I loved Good Times.
Okay.
The show, and I love The Cosby Show.
Okay.
And I think what we have to really unpack a little bit is why, if you go back and look at the history of making Good Times, Asta Roll, who played Florida Evans, Asta Roll had to fight
to get a father
on the show.
Yes.
So why is that? And
so, again, and I think we even see this within the community, it's because some people think that that's what...
Who are the some people? Because there are people within our own community.
Yeah.
If media is so powerful, Keith.
Very powerful.
That what you see, and you're watching a horror film, if something spooks out, you're going to be like, even though it's not real, it's a film.
Yes.
So if you want to control how people view Black Americans,
yes,
foundational Black Americans, the way you're going to control how people view them is by only showing one figure.
Yes.
So the reason why the Cosby Show was so spectacular, and Bill Cosby is a flawed man.
Yes.
But he did something very righteous in making A Different World and the Cosby Show. And that was to have his beautiful wife, because that does exist too.
Yeah.
So, but they don't portray everybody in a trailer park from, people say, oh, all white people live in, that's not the image that we see of white people. We get to see multiple facets of white American life.
And you're absolutely right. Media is so powerful. And I think, the Watts Podcast Network does a great job with just showing, again, gotta plug that in, just showing a side that exists that's not problematic, that is, just as human shows all facets. Again, that's I love the term diaspora, because it is not just Florida and James.
Right.
But it's also not just Heathcliff
and Claire.
And so, before I wrap it, because this is such a good episode, and I spent too long just thinking about the light-skinned girl who looked like Michael Jackson, dark-skinned, like, again, bred Negroni black women. But, because then I also, on a future episode, I wanted to just talk about what the definition of being real is. Because there's going to be a part 2 to this episode, because we're going to be talking about some of these rappers who be fronting. You talk about the media. You talk about that. The music industry is crazy. They sell you this package, and I'm gonna have an episode just on the term real. We keep it real here, but I really want to talk about that term. Really want you to ask yourself, who would you choose, the light skin friend or dark? No, I really want you to ask yourself, like, what is the struggle of the Black experience? Because I really feel, especially if you are Black and you're listening, like, we are all in this, the struggle, power to the people, fist up, all of that. But I really love to stress that just because you got a little bit more money or a little less pigment, you still in that coupe. You still in that aforementioned coupe. So anyway, this is Keith B. Built Different, Watts Podcast Network. I really want to copyright Black NPR so I can just talk about my bagel order. But anyway, once again, thank you for listening to Built Different on the Watts Podcast Network. Please leave us a 5-star review if you loved it. If there are things that you had some questions about, please write a review, subscribe, leave comments, DM us at Built Different KB. But again, like, subscribe, follow, visit the website, wattsproductions.com/podcast. For more, please be sure to check out the Watts Dome on Patreon. We got a lot more exclusive content, additional interviews, special events, all of that good stuff. And also, lastly, tell a friend, share it, send it to somebody. Send it to somebody who thinks Good Times is a better show than The Cosby Show, and send them some hands, because I can't give it to them. So, again, this is Keith B on Built Different.